Hey She Engineers! Now I want to begin today's video differently from the old ones. I understand it with a saying that Michelle Obama once gave us. She said, when you climb the corporate ladder, remember to leave the door open for the next woman to walk through it. I strongly believe today's video is going to be one of the most inspiring videos yet on SheEngineer. Today with me, I have somebody I resonate highly with because she's also a civil engineer. Finally, I couldn't wait really. I really couldn't wait to have a civil engineer. So her name is Daisy Anena Latim. She specializes in highway. So now we have a bit of a gap because my highway is not that deep. However, she's also a co-founder of a very, very good network that brings together women in engineering. I'm not going to say much about it. I'm going to let her be the one to tell us about it. So join me to welcome Daisy. Daisy, thank you so much for coming here today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with you today, Sherry.
Yeah, when you responded to my message, because I believe I got your LinkedIn handle from something related to that network that you created.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you responded to me, I was so excited because nothing excites me more than bringing a woman that actually is intentional about empowering fellow women. Yeah. So Daisy, if you could tell our audience a little bit about you. What did you study? How did you get, what did you study? Which school did you go to? What are you doing at the moment? Which company are you working with? Just please them in a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Sherry. Good day, viewers. My name is Daisy Anena Latim. I am a civil engineer, so I studied at the University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, and I am currently working as a highway design engineer with a private consultancy. It's called MBJ Technologies here in Uganda, Kampala. And yes.
Daisy, you studied from
University of KwaZulu-Natal.
It's
in South Africa.
Yes. South Africa. Okay, so how did you end up in South Africa?
Well, I think from my primary years, from like P6 onwards, my family and I, we moved to Malawi because my dad was working there. He's a statistician or economist. So the whole family moved over there, and then that's where I completed my primary and secondary school at an international school. So that exposure with like the different people from different countries, it just broadened my knowledge about different universities that I could go to. So yeah, I happened to apply to all the universities. I think I started with America, but America, I heard of the floods, or like the university I got accepted to, there was like a hurricane happening there. So I was like, okay, no, let me just now recenter to Africa, somewhere closer maybe to the parents, flight-wise. So that's how I ended up in South Africa. I applied and I got in. Yeah, the rest is history. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So Daisy, I would like us to begin how we normally start. We usually like to understand people's journeys, right from your childhood. Tell us something about your childhood, because sometimes I'm convinced most times the careers we end up in, it starts from somewhere. So if you can tell us from then to where you are now, the transition, how did you end up as Daisy Anena, the highway engineer?
Interesting question. Well, my dad is a very big advocate for sciences. So, like whenever we're in secondary schools, he'd be like, okay guys, you need to study sciences. And I happen to be good in the sciences. So science, mathematics, I did all the 3 sciences in IGCSE, that's O level. So I happened to be good in them. Then I carried on in my O levels, which is IB. A levels, which is the Ugandan equivalent of IB. So I did that, and then so I think where is also then I had a conversation with Dad, and then he saw that because I'm a very creative and inquisitive person by nature, and I happen to be the firstborn, so I think he saw maybe those qualities in me, like maybe you do well in engineering, because with engineering you need to be you need to lead. I don't think in engineering you're supposed to shy away. So I think he saw these qualities in me. I like creative things. I like being a leader. I like exploring. So he took me. He guided me towards the engineering path. And yeah, I applied, got in, and yeah.
So if I may ask, why civil?
Why civil? I think civil, like for me when I was checking, civil you get to put your hands in different sorts of projects. Like you're not only limited to, let's say, software. Okay, I might be mistaken, but with civil you get to experience different, I don't know, projects. Like you can be in the building sector, you can be in water, roads, yeah. So I think that's what I liked. I like the variety of that civil has.
That was my mindset too. That was my mindset, because I remember when I applied for the university, I got very many acceptances. The problem was they were not civil engineering. There we had problems. We had proper problems, because I really wanted civil for one reason. I want to be able to change my mind and move from structures to water, from this. I didn't know that eventually when you start working, you actually stick to something and keep moving with it. But at least I wanted the flexibility. Even if I'm done with school, I'm still able to change trajectory and be like, okay, now I'm taking this particular path. That's what informed my I insisted. I had accepted it, electrical, software. I'm like, no, I want civil. Give me civil. So where I got civil is where I went to pursue it. That's really interesting. Now there is a common question that I get from people, and actually I get it from the older generation, especially those that are not directly in the engineering realm. Because they have a nephew or a niece who studied this course, but they studied it out of the country. And they feel like when these people came back to Uganda, there was a struggle, there was a flex penetrating into the work environment of Uganda because they studied the course abroad. And you know, people look at it like the conditions abroad are different from the conditions in Uganda, which is a point, because in design we consider those conditions. So most of them come from a perspective of they don't have the Ugandan engineering. So even when we try to find them jobs, people keep saying, where shall we start from? So how was it for you?
Well, for me now, getting jobs in Uganda, maybe. So I did like the whole applications. I was writing to ministries, I was writing to just different people, just sending CVs without necessarily waiting for them to advertise for positions. So I also tapped into my network. So I reached out to actually my contacts back in South Africa, because they happen to know some people in Uganda. So that's how I got into the work environment. Like I got to know an engineer from here that recommended me to, you know. So
how long did it take you?
It didn't really take me that long, because I came not that long. I think it also depends on how intentional you are, because you have to be out there. You can't just be sitting and sending CVs. You have to put yourself out there, let people see that okay, you really want to do this, you know. So I volunteered myself, because that's something I used to maybe make myself attractive. I was like, okay, I can just volunteer for your company. If you wish, you can pay me. And good enough, they gave me graduate training at the time I got appointed. So that's how I've actually been.
That's great.
But you have to be intentional with,
This is a conversation we touched a bit of when I was speaking to one of the previous SheEngineer Pillars. I think she's a biomedical. And we were mentioning something along the lines of, even as a younger generation, when we are trying to find our way, yes, we understand the older generation makes it difficult a bit. They don't hurry to embrace us with our lack of experience and whatnot. But we also need to come humble, like volunteer. For the meantime, eventually you'll get something. At least you're gaining the experience everyone is asking you for.
That's true.
You're not getting nothing out of this thing. So I like that you've actually brought it out. Now we know that guys, we are not playing you. We're not playing mind games. So you actually, at some point, need to be flexible.
Yeah, you have
At
to
this
be
point, you're the one that needs these people more than they might actually need you. So be flexible, offer yourself. Eventually, you actually get a good opportunity. That's so nice. That's so nice.
That's so
Daisy, you are a civil engineer that is majorly doing highways.
Yeah.
Is highways the path you've like? Have you made up your mind? Like, is this where you are? Like, you're done?
I think it's one of the. I think so.
You've arrived to where you are going.
I feel. I feel. I might not say I've arrived, but yes, I do know where I want to go, because you see, with highway, you get to be in charge of. You almost tend to be a leader in projects, and that's something I like, because you get to hear. Okay, with highway engineering, you get to interact with like the hydrologists, the structural. So you're actually like the center point in a way, like, because you're the one who has an idea as to like how the project is forming. Let's say the road, because you know what is under the road in terms of drainage. You know what the electrical people are. So yeah, I think highway is where I'm comfortable with. This is why I love. Yeah.
Okay, so if you can, it's nice. It's nice to know that you're now here and you're somewhere where you now know that this is the tradition. This is the route I want to take.
Yeah.
Now, what's your day like?
My day.
What's your day like? Like, as a highway engineer, you wake up in the morning. What do you do? You've been given a project. What do you do? You know, I'm asking this question particularly for the younger ladies out there and younger engineers, because I've noticed I have a male audience too. Who are wondering if they should get into highways or structures. This was a common discussion point when I was in the university. Most of us were confused. Should I do highways? Should I do structures? And why? We had very many opinions from very many people. Now today we would like to hear your opinion. Okay,
to answer your question as to whether to do highways or structures, I think it depends on you as a person. Because structural, you need to be conversant with lots of detailed drawings. So you need to be flexible in terms of software usage. You can't just be I'm a structural engineer, but you don't know how to put the theory into the application. So you need to be good in applications. You need to be flexible because technology is changing. So you need to know what's in the market in terms of BIM and all these other things that are happening. In terms of whether to be a highway, now you see with the highway, okay, most people think of it to be designing roads, which is true. So it has the designing of the roads, it has, it's mainly being a leader, being able to interpret. Maybe if they give you structural drawings, you need to interpret them well. If they give you drainage, you need to be able to, you need to at least to some extent know how to interpret the other areas. Not in detail, but you need to be able to. So I hope that answers the question, because structural, you need to be, you have to have an interest in, I don't know, making these interesting buildings come to life, really, in terms of the structural loads and whatnot.
So it comes down to your passion as a person.
Yeah, you need to know what you're passionate about, yes.
You know, when I was finishing school, I was very passionate about highways.
Oh, highways, yeah.
Very passionate about highways. And somehow, yes, I do a bit of highways, but it's on a very minimal level. We just basically look at access roads and whatnot. So it's not so, it's not the level to which I thought. I wanted to be those people that design the roundabouts, design the traffic lights. I was all in for highways.
I think it now depends.
But now, when I came out to the real world, all the opportunities that threw themselves at me were structural. So somehow I ended up as structural
I think
engineer.
Also the projects actually deter you to where you're going to be based, because most of the projects I've actually been a part of, they've mainly been in highway and highway design. So that's how I started.
Was it intentional?
It wasn't intentional at first. Of course, I did, like, for my final year project, I did something in roads. So it was roads and structures. So whichever project came first in terms of those two, you were open. I was open to them. So that's how I got into highway. Okay. And you are asking about the day-to-day of a highway engineer. I think it depends on the type of project that you're in right now. Okay. Let's just say you're in a season whereby Okay, it also depends on the company you work for. Because if it's a private consultancy, you tend to find that you're doing most of the work. Let's say bid preparation, you're looking at the tender documents and whatnot. So it depends on the company you're working for and the project. If your project is, let's say, only a design project, because there's design and then there's design supervision, where you're supervising the contractor. So if it's let's say a design project and you happen to be a highway engineer, you need to of course balance between site work and then you also need to balance between office work, because you need to know what data am I getting from sites, are these guys picking the right data, and even though you have like designed the road based on that data, you still need to go back and check. So that could be your typical day-to-day balance between office work, site work. Also I guess reporting, because you need to I know we tend not to like reports, but reporting is key, because you need to be like, okay, this is why I chose this,
I need to document everything.
You need to document well. And then if you happen to be in the construction supervision projects, there of course now it's mainly site work. And then the office work is limited, because there you're just implementing whatever design you have on the road, just checking to see that the contractor is, abiding to whatever standards you was set forth. So construction supervision is mainly site work with some little bits of design, because sometimes you need to be able to change designs on the get-go, because something may not work. Let's say you have either, I don't know, you're building into someone's fence and you have to go and quickly change. Okay. So that's a typical day-to-day.
Okay. So what do you do? What do you do away from engineering?
Away from engineering? Oh, a lot. Alright, so my day-to-day, it's engineering related. I am a co-founder of Women's Engineering Network Global, most commonly known as WEN. Aside from that, I am a wife. And what I do, what do I do? I like different things, creative stuff. So you might find me reading a book either on my phone, or it's just a different array of things, that I keep doing.
Okay. That's good. So you see, in the work field, there are very many things that actually define who we become. Some of them can be like a challenge, others can be like an opportunity. What are those things in your life that have defined your growth in this career?
Maybe I would say my inquisitive nature, and also inquisitive nature in terms of like in engineering, you can't just sit and you expect, you always have to be figuring out like, okay, well, how does this work? What facing challenges in this? How do we go about it? So my inquisitive nature has helped me with that, and I guess also my patience, because with engineering you tend to interact with different sorts of people. You need to know how to deal with people, because you'll find some people who are just, just different emotionally intelligent backgrounds and compared to the one you grew up with. So you need to be able to interact with people depending on the situation. Let's say if it's a project and then you happen to you're working with a contractor that doesn't really want to abide with certain things. Now you need to approach them in a certain way, not too assertive, and you have to balance things, and also learn how to read the room in case this is the culture that you have entered the project in. You need to first understand it, and then so I think those are the things that have maybe helped me what's it called? How helped me tackle challenges that I might face in terms of social challenges. Okay. But there are various challenges that you'll be facing. You just have to be ready to keep calm, and then be ready to tackle them.
Yeah, that's true. Do you have like a particular experience, particular something that you've experienced on your journey that is so memorable to you, because it has somehow become the reason as to why you're doing a certain thing today. That is within the engineering realm.
That is so memorable. One example comes to mind when I was in a construction supervision project, whereby I attended one of several meetings whereby the contractor was supposed to follow a work plan but did not follow that plan. So you as I guess let me say a graduate engineer, you get so riled up. It's like, but this thing is very simple to follow. Last week you said you're going to do this, you're going to crash this. And in the same meeting and meetings after that, we're still talking the same thing. Yeah, so as a new graduate engineer, that got me like riled up. You'd be like, don't you know how to read this work plan? But then that taught me that, like, when you dig deeper into that situation, you know that there are some things beyond what you see. Yeah, so you have to, that's why I say you have to like read the room and learn whatever language is happening, either the politics or whatever, so that you don't get riled up, because it's very easy to get riled up. And so that situation taught me, like, okay, read the room, know what type of contractor you're dealing with, because there are some things that happen behind the scenes that you don't really understand.
There's also a need to understand the client.
Yeah, you need to understand the clients, because if you over put yourself there with your head and be like, oh, this is easy, you might find yourself in a like sticky situation, because you might find either you have touched something that doesn't have to be touched, and then you end up finding yourself without a job. So yeah, that's I think one challenge that I keep thinking about whenever I enter projects, to just first understand who are the parties we are working with. How can we approach them? Because you can come and be like, this is what I read in the books, you're supposed, but sometimes it doesn't go like that.
One thing I've seen about documentation, it's nice, it's good, it's necessary, but it's in the realistic world, it's actually what I can say about it is the documentation is ideal, especially the documentation pre the activity. Yeah. Because anything can happen. My work plan can be reading that on Tuesday we are going to cast concrete. On Thursday we are going to begin the block work. You know, but then on Tuesday you wake up and it's raining heavily. There is no room for casting concrete that day. You know, or maybe the person you had contracted to deliver concrete has had a challenge. Their cement wasn't delivered. What? When I was still new to this work thing, I was those people, by the way, I go with things to the book. Like if you've handed me that this is what I'm following, I don't want to come and find different things on ground. But over time, I've appreciated that something could have changed. So before this thing triggers me, I need to first understand what happened. Why aren't we where we thought we were going to be? Why aren't we doing what we expected to be done? And then also adjusting to the different companies that you work with.
That is so true.
Because there's a company that you work with and everything is so seamless. Like by the time they're doing things a certain way, you're even understanding them before you actually approach them to discuss it. You'll be like, these guys have a reason. There must be a reason as to why this mishap has happened. And then there's this other one whereby you feel like it's very deliberate. Like they feel, it makes you feel like they're doing this on purpose, just frustrate your job.
True.
So there's a need to understand that companies are different, approaches to the works will be different. Really, it's a very dynamic space that you really have to navigate and still manage to do your part. It's quite tricky. It's a genuine challenge.
And you also have to document, maybe document those challenges. Also, when you're facing those tricky companies, just in case something comes up and then they want to put you under the bus, you'd be like, but this is what
actually, one thing I've seen about engineering, we hate reporting, but it's our savior.
It is.
We usually say, as we don't like writing, we don't like, we just want to calculate. But man, that report is your, I think it should be like your Bible on a project.
Literally, it is.
Wherever you're keeping your reports, even don't even mind about the document control system at office. Yourself as an individual, have your copies, like collect them, have them in place, and know that in case of anything, I'm presenting my things like.
You need to have backup.
Yeah, that's really true. I agree with you. Now I want us to. You mentioned something. You mentioned something about WEN Global. If you could expound, tell us more about it. I first found out about it actually recently, right before I reached out to you. I was like, when I just found out about it, unfortunately I found they put out an advert asking for volunteers and something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm here to give you some publicity.
Ooh.
WEN Global away.
Oh yes, thank you. So what WEN Global is, its mission is to be a home for female engineers, whereby female engineers can grow, connect, and thrive into phenomenal women and leaders.
Okay.
So one of the, how we started this is during our university days, whenever you're attending engineering related events, you find that maybe there are few young engineers that are attending these events that will maybe be beneficial to them. And then we also saw that, especially with the ladies, the engineering ladies, there was lack of kind of connection. I don't know if it was just me, but there was lack of that. And then being a home, we also wanted people to, like as a home, you're supposed to feel like you're growing. So with WEN, we wanted to be a space where people are growing. So let us say you want to give back to community and put your skills into use. Maybe you want to develop your public speaking. So we have those outreaches in forms of career guidance. That's not only for the ladies, it's also for the boys.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have those, and then we also have webinars, because sometimes you feel like, okay, majority of our members are lacking maybe in this particular topic that they want more insight on. So in that case, we either call upon an engineer or someone more knowledgeable in that topic to come and give a talk. And then we also have mentorship sessions, like either physical or online. So with the physical ones, it can be like something like this, where we have dialogue with a more seasoned engineer or any practitioner to just give a talk to ladies. Yeah, so with WEN, we just want to be a home for female engineers. So we have a variety of events. Of course, being a home, we also need to have fun. So we do have those fun sessions whereby we'll be like, oh, okay, we have taken long without this bonding session happening. So there we arrange for some fun outing activities just to maybe help people connect to each other more. Yeah, so that's what we hope to achieve with WEN. We have open branches there's Uganda, of course. There is Lesotho, where the other founder is, Tisha Koma. And then there is South Africa.
WEN Global, Joburg, South Africa.
And then we are now starting another one in Sierra Leone and another one in Eswatini, which is formerly known as Swaziland, near the country in South Africa. Yeah, so yes, you had the call for people to volunteer, because we also realized people tend to, especially ladies, they're shy to take up on leadership positions. So with these committee positions, we just want to give a chance for ladies to maybe put themselves out there in organizing events that would, of course, it would help them feel connected to the other engineers, but it would also help them grow. So yeah, that's what we hope to achieve with WEN. I think we started a bit 5 years ago. Of course, it was not as active. It was just I think our first event was a challenge. It was a 45 picture day challenge, whereby we called upon ladies to present their videos or pictures of them in the field. And so that's how we have just been doing things, challenges, what. But then it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, that's when we are now more intentional. We're like, okay, let's now do more physical activities in the different countries. Mainly Uganda and Lesotho, because those are the first countries where we opened the branches in. Yeah, so we are doing so many activities, and we hope to just increase the membership, and also partner with SheEngineer. Yeah, so that you can at least elevate the voices of female engineers, and just to make ourselves visible out there for maybe young engineers that want to be in engineering, but they do not know how engineers look like or what to expect. So yeah, with WEN, we just want to be a home whereby we can talk about different topics, either challenges in the field or how can we tackle this. Yeah, so based on the challenges that we had faced as young engineers, we were like, okay, we can talk about the challenges all day long, let us just act. So that is when we were like, let us act. It's time to act rather than pinpointing all the challenges. So we're just trying to tackle those challenges, one step at a time.
That part where you said we can't keep talking about these challenges and we're doing nothing about it. My revelation to starting this channel, I was sitting with a friend of mine who at work at site, and we were discussing our challenges.
And at some point, the point where I would be like, man, even you get. Then she's like, I wish we had like a podcast where we could just talk about. I'm like, you've talked about this thing, and I've always wanted. Always wanted to start it. So on the way back to Kampala, that journey, I texted a friend of mine. I'm like, hi, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It's going to be about empowering women in engineering, and please feature on my YouTube. I would like it to be like my first feature on this channel. At that moment, I had made up my mind because I just felt like I'm done. We can't keep talking about this. Every time you're with a fellow female engineer, you really have so many things. You're like,
most of the meetings actually, like when you're meeting with like lady engineers, it's like, oh, we are facing these challenges. And then you postpone it for the next meeting that's going to happen. And it's like, but what are we doing to at least try and address this? So, yeah, that's why we're trying to at least little by little.
I was actually excited when I looked at my analytics and said men also watch this channel. Because I felt like, yes, you watch so that you know what part you've had to play in these challenges as men. You get? Because we might be only addressing things that benefit women. But you also need, for us to actually make an impact, we would need for them to also understand what role they might have played in the challenges that we face as women in the field.
And how we can better address those challenges.
Exactly. So I feel good, even if it's a small percentage of like 25%, I love it. I like to see that there's actually a male audience. And then also because we talk about a lot, including the technical aspects that are quite beneficial to also men. So I feel like it's so far so good. So far so good. I feel like now I'm doing something about it.
Because you can't just be part of the people who are complaining
every day.
Which is good.
So how many founders are you for WEN Global?
We are two.
You're two founders.
Tisha Koma, she's in Lesotho. That's how we happen to have a Lesotho branch.
Okay.
And then me, that's why there's the Ugandan branch, because we are trying to tap into our connections. Actually, the way you would find most of these branches, the way we are opening it, is because maybe we know someone
there.
So that's how we are actually tapping into these connections. So that's when, at least when you're going to a conference in Lesotho and you're like, oh, I want to have fun, or I want to know what's this, you won't feel like alone and whatnot. You can just tap into the WEN contacts and then be like, okay, yes.
I love it. I love it. So I like what WEN is doing. I like it. Because when I looked at it and I'm like, this is not something that started from the US.
No, it's...
You get? Like, normally most of these organizations have been existent for some time. And they are so big, there is a certain part they are not reaching. You get? Not like how you have a big broom, but you're trying to sweep tiny dust particles. You're likely not going to be successful. So I feel like that is what we've been having. There have been initiatives that we very much appreciate. Oh my God, so much.
There are so many.
But the thing is, they are not reaching all the corners. So we need a tinier broom that can sweep into these corners. I would even encourage, as we grow, as WEN grows, as SheEngineer grows, I would encourage younger girls to keep on doing things like this, because there is a reach you can reach that we shall no longer be able to actually satisfy effectively.
I think it also depends on the organization you're speaking about, because you might find you're having organizations that are top, like those top engineering organizations that do have these initiatives, but you find that in these, like the people who are running these initiatives, maybe set for either the youth and whatever, it's mainly the older people that are doing that. So I think it's also maybe for the elders to at least give way for
the younger ones.
Not give way, but maybe give room for the others to maybe also learn what they could also participate in terms of leadership. And that's
because
how
then the younger
grow.
ones will still manage to pull out that reach that they can no longer reach. I agree with you. I agree with you. So it's great stuff they're doing out there, but there's going to be need to let in the younger people. I recently attended what they call it? It was a dialogue. And one of the ladies that was speaking to us mentioned something. She said, you old engineers, give way for the young engineers. Now let me first tell you something ironic that happened. Later on in the same dialogue, an old gentleman also comes out and says, all the projects are being given to the youths. now as the elderly, where do you want us to go? But someone earlier in that same dialogue had said something about when we are talking about the, how do they call them again? Marginalized groups. They normally look at youth, women, and then we forget the elderly. You get? So there is a need to balance this whole thing. We can't just front youth, front women, front only elderly, and forget. I just feel like if you have an organization, if you're running something big, you need to owe it to yourself to strike a balance. The elderly want a place because the guy was right. They need a place too, and so do the youth, and so do the women. So find a way. I just feel like if I get a chance and I am running something that big, I would have a serious, because the man said it and I was like, you have a point. I've just never looked at it like that. All right. It has been really, really exciting to have somebody that is now we're even more of like minds than when we started this video. At the start of the video, I thought it was just about the civil engineering, but now I can see that even the need to empower the coming generation, more so of female engineers. It's nice that WEN also looks at some point also looks at things that benefit the gentlemen too, because even here on SheEngineer we do. But I like that the focus is heavily on the women. We resonate highly on that. But now I have a tendency of, I can't be sitting next to an expert and my audience doesn't learn something from the expert. So being that you're a highway engineer, we've always seen things like, I want to bring it in layman's terms, things like the accidents on the Ugandan roads, whereby you find that we attribute them to the road infrastructure. For example, at the Uganda Management Institute of Uganda, there is that gate at Ginger Road. It's a highway. There's that gate at Ginger Road where students normally cross whenever they come out of the institute. However, that road, so many accidents were happening. So many students actually were having accidents on that road. And most times they were fatal accidents because it's a highway. People are really going at the highest speed. So I noticed something interesting that was done. They put a zebra crossing.
On a highway.
On a highway. You get it's somehow off from what we study and whatnot. But then again, it made sense. I put the technical part aside. People are dying. There's need to do something about this place. But after putting the zebra crossing, we still realize accidents were still happening on this highway. So now they incorporated putting a flagman. So when students come out, the flagman had to raise the flag, stop vehicles for people to cross safely. And then, so you can see that we are going against the standard. Technically, because a highway shouldn't really have this kind of detail. But you can appreciate the fact that it's for the good of that particular. They've studied the environment and whatnot. Now there is this concept of real-time data analysis and using it to improve road safety. If you'd give us an insight, tell us something more, educate us a little more, because me the first time I saw a zebra crossing, the engineer in me was like, but then later I was like, but people are dying. So if you could give us some more light on that.
Like in terms of safety, there's so much that goes into, of course, as an highway engineer, you're supposed to abide, you're supposed to use standards to guide you in the design. So not only that, you're supposed to also look at the different environments that where you're constructing the road and the people that are going to be interacting with the road. So in such a scenario, they should have actually maybe have slowed down the traffic, being a highway and being close to an institution. They should have actually like maybe slowed down the traffic before, so that at least by the time someone reaches the zebra crossing, it's like
they're already at a
it's not like so different things are actually supposed to be looked at, but of course now they're in terms of road safety, there are different things that also happen. Maybe the cut and fill volumes, you might find maybe people are not able to, let's say the geotechnical engineer and the highway engineer, they were not able to maybe play around with the landscape of the road, maybe to reduce the cost or something. So there are different things that could happen to maybe reduce this, to improve on the safety. But in terms of real-time data, I feel like that is key, because with real-time data okay, my idea is like having maybe like an app whereby different road users can be like, okay, I've faced the challenge here, this is where an accident has been happening, not only for road users but also maybe for police people, where they could like maybe input, like they could be maybe our eyes, they could be the eyes of the road, so where they'll be like, okay, this is the challenge that has been happening, this accident always frequents around this, this area. Because using that data then, it would help us as road designers to maybe go back to site to be like, okay, how can we implement this better? Are there too many potholes? What have we been missing? Are the signs not working? So that's just my idea of utilizing real-time data. Of course, these things are there. It's just that now, because I do know of ministries that actually do collect these data. We have the police, we have other government ministries that are collecting. But there's like some kind of disconnect with what data is being collected and what is being used for the for the analysis and whatnot. Yeah, so I think it's just all parties to work together. It's not going to be easy, because it needs also a lot of organization from different parties and commitment, because it does take commitment to actually be like, okay, this is what's happening here, so that we can at the end of the day sit down and be like, okay, how can we solve these, for the good of our Ugandans and other people. Yeah, so that's just my idea of real-time data usage. Okay. Yeah. Because
when I was looking at, I want to go back to that scenario I just shared.
Yeah.
When I was looking at that scenario, for me, if someone approached me and asked me, what would have been the best solution you'd have put in place for this situation?
Yeah.
I don't think zebra crossing was going to be what was going to come to my mind.
Of course, zebra crossings could be one of the measures, because you need to make drivers alert that, okay, this is where people are going to be crossing. But there are some measures you're supposed to place before, like downstream and upstream, like, before the road, that road section, and then after that road section. So it's either incorporating like either rumble strips, a series of rumble strips, and then humps, and then maybe also sorry. Yeah, so rumble strips, humps, and also maybe proper signages, maybe even lights. You might find maybe traffic lights are not maybe, I don't know, on or functional or even present in that particular section. Yeah, like there are different things that could be incorporated just to reduce the increase on the road safety in that area.
No, but that thing really made me appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like you see in school, when they would make you go and study a road, they tell you stand at the road and observe, and tell us what you've observed about the road and how it would inform your design of the road.
Yeah,
I really felt like, really, you want to just make me stand at the sun like that? But when I looked at this scenario, I was like, this thing makes a lot of sense. Now I'm seeing it. Because it's a highway and it makes sense. It's a highway. These drivers are exercising their right to drive.
Yeah, it's a highway.
On the highway. It has no humps. It has no signposts warning people. There are a few signposts, true. But then again, we know.
But you see, with highway engineering, you're supposed to address the needs for like the road users, let's say the drivers and also the pedestrians. Being a highway, you can't just come with an excuse and be like, it's a highway, cars are supposed to peruse through. So first you're supposed to maybe identify where is this road like passing through, who interacts with this road, what type of people are they that disadvantaged. Like you're supposed to look at all that before like now putting in other measures to like maybe increase on the safety. Because as highway engineers, you're supposed to actually, like, the safety of everyone is paramount. You can't just only look at the road users. Of course, there are people who just be like, no, you're just going to look at the road users, which is not good. Yeah, you're supposed to peruse through, look and be like, okay, we have students crossing here. Can I maybe derail, maybe where they cross and put them maybe away from maybe like where the speed is going to be high? And yeah, you're supposed to look at all those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. It's interesting.
And it's also money. I guess it's also money and implementation, because you should not be easily swayed. Because you can be, so they'll be like, okay, these rainbow strips are XY amount, let's do without. But as an engineer, you're supposed to stand your ground and be like, okay, for the safety of our people, you have to be strict and be like, no, we have to do this. Otherwise, you'll be easily swayed, and yeah, at the end of the day, people are losing lives.
That's so true. That's really true.
Yeah.
So, on to what brings us on SheEngineer.
Yes.
Yeah. The main thing we are here for is for that. Honestly, I like that we bring together women in engineering, but me, I want to drive the force of encouraging more girls that this thing is doable. Come and we do. So, please give advice to a young girl that is unsure about getting into this career, but she feels she wants it, but she's unsure about getting into it.
So for the young girls entering the engineering field, I'd advise you maybe to just be out there. Don't be shy. Because one thing we have realized during our outreach events, wherever there are girls and boys, it's usually the girls that tend to shy away. They don't want to ask questions. So maybe if you happen to land on this video and yeah, don't be shy. Ask your teachers questions. Just ask people, interact. You can, if engineering is really something you're really passionate about, maybe make a visit to the ministry or something. Or what do we have? We have councils. There's so many. Just be out there. Maybe you can ask your parents, okay, can you help me find out what this and this is? What do they do? You just have to be more inquisitive, yes, as a person. And also don't be shy, be out there. I think that's the main thing I would tell people. Yeah, because once you actually develop these skills of not being afraid of your opinions or just asking questions, that in your engineering career, let's say in university and also after university, because yeah.
That's nice. So I understand what you're saying, because recently I was somewhere and some lady said, for the years I've been working in procurement, I have not seen a female-owned construction company bidding for a project. And she's like, if you're there and you're a woman and you are in engineering and you have a company, please reach out to me. She's not even an engineer, by the way. She's not. Like, this is, do you think even us that are already there are still shy?
Yeah, we are. Because, for example, like, let's say we have these WEN events and then we are calling upon volunteers to maybe run initiatives, or even you're just interacting with people. You find people have experience in the field, like technical-wise, but when now they want to voice out or even take leadership, they're like, oh no, they start doubting themselves. So that is actually still there, and we need to get out of our minds, because I don't know, like, we're just over our heads as to, I don't know what makes us over-doubt ourselves, but we're always second-doubting, being like, oh, can I do this, can I do that? Like, you know, even though it's wrong, you should, I think, take examples of guys. Like, guys, whether it's right or wrong, the guy who put up the hand,
do it.
Whether he's laughed at, it's okay. So I think that's something maybe ladies have to embrace more of, that courageous nature. And yeah, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay. At the end of the day, no one's going to pinpoint you and be like, oh no. Maybe it's how we grew up, I really don't know, whereby people tell you do this, you're sitting wrong. So you already grow up and you're like, how do I act? Maybe it is an upbringing.
What are they going to think about how I am acting?
Yeah.
Because that's actually true. That's how we were raised. Sit like this.
Yeah,
you're like,
you're
so
talking, eating loudly. So every time you're already in the pressure, you're like, oh, how do I do it? How do I ask questions? Is my voice too loud? Is it too high? It's like already, yeah. So I think we just have to get over our head over these things that we've been facing over our childhood, and then just be like guys. I think this is the time where I feel like just be like guys. Just whether it's right or wrong, put up your hand, go for it. Don't overdoubt yourself.
Actually, what I would say is to the younger ones. Clearly, you've seen that even us that are there are still shy. Just come. You get it? Like, even when you're still feeling shy about it, just come, because it's a journey. That's all I can say. When a woman asked for a company, I was like,
Yeah, by the way, there's so few.
I've always
engineers.
wanted, but I know one of the reasons I have not started it is that.
Yeah.
And this morning I was reading an article by a lady who owns an engineering company in Uganda, and she said, yes, even getting jobs is hard.
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult to convince someone that as a woman
That
you're
you
going
can.
to actually push
Yeah.
and deliver their project. And then she's like, that is why I have ensured to always have men on my team.
Yeah.
Now, why am I bringing this? This one is a direct attack on society, by the way.
Yeah.
On society at large. Because why? What do you mean? This lady is holding a certificate. If you ask for proof of you can work,
Yeah.
she has her degree, and so does the gentleman. Who you think does better?
Yeah.
You get? She has a company. It's been in existence for 8 years. And the gentleman probably has one that's even less years. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Also 8 years. You're looking for proof that they can execute
Yeah.
this job. Where is the problem?
I think it's.
This is why women are shy. But let me even cut us some slack at this point. This is why we are shy as women. Because what do you mean I have to bargain because that was how it's planned. She's like, my bargaining has to, it's like a different one. You have to literally convince this person that I'm going to deliver just because
Yeah.
the face that has shown up is that of a woman.
I think it's because maybe society is not really. It has been tailored mainly for like the men, so people are already used to seeing if
Men
there's a
in
man,
engineering.
so it's already perception. It's like, okay, a man will do a better job. So now it's on us to now. Yeah, we have to prove ourselves.
Yeah, I've come to you, SheEngineer, to tell you people that even female engineers exist and they know what they are doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, they
Yeah,
do.
definitely.
Like, part of the reason as to why women keep lagging behind is because of some of these things.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I have to do 10 times more for my company to look like for that of gentleman X who has done bare minimum,
Yeah.
it's not fair. Like, why do they have to put in most of the work?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like this is an effort from everybody.
Yeah.
As much as we want to fight our shyness and our imposter syndrome and our feeling of lacking, of not belonging to the sector, we need the assistance of the society, of the community around us. Be flexible, because honestly, some of you are actually sending your daughters to do engineering. Me, by the way, let me first speak things as they are. You're sending your daughter to go and do engineering. But you're hesitant to hire a woman who is an engineer. Why are you sending your daughter in the first place?
Yeah.
You get? It's because deep down inside, you know that women can do this. You know that your daughter can do this.
Yeah.
You get? But because of society is going to look at you and be like, a woman is doing your work. That's what's literally making some of these people hold back.
Yeah,
but it's not that they don't think you can actually do the work, but because they know that there's going to be this pressure from external, it's going to be like, why did you give your thing to a woman? Why would you give construction to a woman? Every mistake that happens on a project is because it's a woman.
Yeah,
Yet there's always problems in construction.
Yeah.
There's always problems in construction. So the first thing that has to be done is remove that societal bias and then watch women thrive, because I believe women can thrive.
Yeah,
Look
we
at
can
how
thrive.
lady lawyers are thriving.
they are thriving.
Okay, they also have challenges, but they're also thriving because people embraced that a woman can be a lawyer.
But I
Guys,
guess it's
extend us the
also-
same energy, man.
I guess it also goes back to maybe visibility. Like we also, because society is not used to maybe seeing ladies in such positions, we also have to put the onus on ourselves to maybe put ourselves out there to be like, okay guys, here we are, we can do this, just to maybe also train their minds to be like, okay, yes, you guys are capable. Because if we just leave it to society to just accept, it might not, it might take a longer time than where we come in and we're like, okay, this is what we do, yeah.
Okay. Before we close our discussion for today, I would like you to share with us a challenge you've experienced as a woman in a male-dominated field and how you have come around it.
Oh, there are so many challenges.
Just give us one. We just need one.
There are so many. Okay, let me maybe share this challenge because I think it resonates to maybe different lady engineers. This is weird because it's like the parents will be like, whoa. Okay, yeah, so make you face this challenge. Anyway, yeah, so let me just give an insight as to one challenge I faced. I happen to be friends, or it's like in engineering, they tell you connect. You have to network, you have to connect. So Daisy was doing this, like just that, attending social events, connecting, But now, to my little understanding, there was another engineer who was thinking other things, a male engineer who I think wanted extra stuff. But in my innocence, I'm just like, okay, I'm seeing this male engineer, he's seasoned, I can learn something from him, maybe even tap into his connections professionally-wise. Yeah. So there was a time the guy was like, okay, so I really wanted to enter one particular project, and he happened to be, I think, one of the senior engineers there. So we were going to have discussions. You see like how we meet up in such a setting, and we're like, okay, let's have discussions. Just to see, like maybe you get to know about my skills, and then you get to maybe tell me how
I can fit in.
Yeah, how I can fit in and what. Yeah, so such a meeting happened. We met up, and then it was okay. Like we're talking professionally wise, and then the guy just threw a curveball. He's like, okay, now what is in it for me? I have booked this and this for you, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like just derailed me. I was just like, okay, I've seen you as a father figure, which most lady engineers tend to be thinking their guys supervisors as father figures. So I was like, wait a minute, that thing just derailed me, and I was just like, it just disgusted me. I was just like, okay. Anywho, yeah, so that's a challenge I faced. Of course, I had to steer away from that person. I was like, no, I can't. This is not me. You also need to understand your values. To like, no, I can't. Me as a person, me as Daisy, I cannot do certain things, even though I want to elevate my career. And yeah. So I had to I turned it down because that's not me. So I turned it down, and yeah, I think maybe my advice to ladies who are also in such situations whereby maybe they get told by these male engineers that, oh no, this one got like this because of this. I feel like let's just hold your ground, stand with your values. You don't have to go certain routes that these guys claim, because at the end of the day, you feel like you are doing yourself a disjustice if you go through such routes.
It's actually not fair.
Yeah, so that's I think one challenge I faced that maybe some other female engineers can, yeah.
No, I've actually had some ladies have the same challenge.
Yeah.
I know that we're in a field where, because it's most likely to happen, they try so hard to combat it. So it's not so precedent like I would have expected. No one is coming out of school. Me, I even feared interacting with men because I had this thing of men are just going to be. Yeah. But in getting to that field, I realized they're actually some normal people. The ones that act like that, you just excuse yourself and stick to the normal one. It's not like everyone there is a vulture.
Yeah, that's so true.
So my advice for ladies that will go through such a thing is just respect yourself.
Yeah.
That's what matters the most. Respect yourself and excuse yourself when this thing comes, especially if the interest is not at all mutual. Just excuse yourself. If it continues, if it's persistent, then that becomes harassment. So flag it. Flag it. We are in a field where they actually know that we are prone to going through this. So when you flag it, nobody is going to shut you down. People will actually listen. And then on the same issue, my call to the ladies that are already in engineering, let's take on the mentorship. If you're in a workspace and there is a young female engineer, why are you letting her look at a male as a mentor? You get, I know normally they say mentees look for the mentors, but seek out that girl, because we understand the environment and the world we live in. There is a high chance that she's going to end up getting attached to whoever accepts to guide her through this journey. So if you're a female in the room, hold her hand and be like, I got you, don't worry. It can be supplementary, but let me be your main mentor. That does not only save her from getting her approaches, because approaches will come, but it will also give her a safe space and protection. You get, if someone does it, just someone to speak to about it. And if the workmates around you are seeing that she's under your wing, they are hesitant to come at her with that energy. So otherwise, that is it from us here on SheEngineer. We'll be sharing all the links for WEN Global, and I'll also attach Daisy's LinkedIn
just in case you feel like she would make the perfect mentor for you, please reach out to her. And I wish you the best. I think you would make an amazing mentor for these young girls. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, if you learned something nice from it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share to the next person so they can learn.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.